we have to make it an effort to go in and lift and lift and lift and not do any cardio. As soon as you do any kind of high intensity work, there's no way you're going to get bulky.
When it comes to female training, there's a number of common misconceptions that just won't seem to go away. I think probably the primary one being that strength training or resistance training makes you bulky. I think so many women want to take greater control of their health and fitness, but are still encountering some of these stumbling blocks. Is the biggest obstacle in your experience, Dr. Sims, still that misconception around resistance training, or are there other kind of common fallacies that are now taking its place that are stopping women from achieving their potential?
I think there's a lot of things, but if we look specifically at resistance training, like historically, it's been more of aggression and strength and power and speed for men. So if you go into a gym right now, you see that it's very gendered, because if you walk in, you're like, hey, I want a gym membership. As a woman, they'll ask you, well, how much weight do you want to lose? And oh, by the way, there's the cardio equipment, and these are our spin class and our yoga classes. And if you're a guy and you walk in, you're like, I want a gym membership. They're like, okay, great. How, what's your goal? What do you want to lift? Here's the strength components. Here's the racks, that kind of stuff. We have great PTs, whatever. So it's automatically gendered. So that's one of the big barriers when women go and like, oh, I want to take care of my health, but I've been ushered to this boot camp class. Oh, there's resistance training now, right? But when we're looking at what it means to actually get into the gym and lift heavy and to do power-based training, there's still that misnomer that it's very masculine and it's going to masculinize a woman, but it's not. And we see this, it's like, we know that women do better with power-based training just from a central nervous system and a nerve pattern and a lot of the muscle fibers that are involved. But it doesn't mean that they get bulky, they just get strong, because we need that heavier load and the shorter recovery time between those heavy loads to actually instigate that central nervous system response to get strong. To get bulky, and we see people like the CrossFit Games athletes, like Annie Torsdottir, she's really strong, but she works really, really hard at getting that bulk as a function of what she does as an athlete. And then if we see images of like the physique competitions and the Olympic Miss Olympia, and we have those kinds of ideas about being in the gym, it does perpetuate this myth. But for women to understand that in order to get that kind of bulk, they have to eat in abundance, because we can't build tissue if we don't have extra calories, especially protein calories, timed appropriately. And we have to make it an effort to go in and lift and lift and lift and not do any cardio. As soon as you do any kind of high intensity work, there's no way you're going to get bulky.
And how frustrating is it for you when you have to constantly explain to women that they're not going to get bulky? I know you look around the gym, and if lifting weights made you bulky, then surely all the men would be ripped, and they're clearly not if you walk into a commercial gym, right? So if it's hard for men to do it, it's going to be even harder for women. But do you still feel like you're kind of butting your head against a brick wall sometimes? Is this message getting through? Are you seeing any signs that women are understanding the enormous upside of resistance training?
I'm finding it's a generational thing, or maybe not generational, but an age thing. So we're seeing women that are about mid 30s and below really embracing it. And I think it's kind of the offshoot of a few years ago where they're like, strong is the new skinny. And we started seeing in women's magazines, not like 2-kilo dumbbells that people were lifting, but actually a barbell. And we're seeing more and more of those images in popular media. When we start getting to late 30s on upwards, there's still the hangover of the 80s and the supermodels, and we have to be super thin, we have to do the spin classes and the Pilates and the yoga. So when you start saying power-based training, people freak out. They're like, oh gosh, no, that doesn't fit in with what I think I need to be doing to be healthy. So as this younger crew starts to come in, and we're normalizing what it means to be in the gym and do deadlifts and squats and compound movements, we're starting to see more and more women on the gym floor taking over the lifting platforms, and it's great. But we need to have more of that exposure to the older set, because the older set really will benefit from doing strength resistance power-based training.